A group of schoolgirls from Armidale in New South Wales on an outdoor adventure have put their skills to good use, stretchering a man to safety after he'd broken his leg. The hiker says he'll be forever grateful to the girls and their teachers. One of the girls, Stephanie Blake, joins us now alongside the principal of Presbyterian Ladies College Armidale, Nicola Taylor. Welcome to you both. And Steph, can I start with you? I hope that's okay, Principal. So what was this hike that you were on, Steph?
Yeah, there's a group of us girls at the school that are working on our Gold Duke of Ed at the moment. And this was a practice hike that we were doing in the Warrumbungles National Park near Coonabarabran.
Yeah, and so what is the Duke of Edinburgh program?
The Duke of Edinburgh program is a program that works across 4 areas. There's a service, there's a physical component, and then there is a adventurous journey and the skills, yes. Yeah. And you work on each of those across the year, and then the peak of it is usually the adventurous journey.
All right. And so had you actually trained to help, through this program, trained to help someone who was injured?
So we were doing our gold, and we'd all completed bronze and silver. So we'd accumulated skills across those previous awards, and yeah, we had done different skills, but I think there was a lot of learning along the way, and we were very lucky to have our leaders who were very well trained in this area and prepared for a situation like this.
And so how long were you into this hike in the Warrumbungles when you came across this man?
We were doing a 3-night hike, and this was the 3rd day, so we had one more night. And yeah, we came across this man. We'd woken up at sunrise that morning, and we came across this man just before lunch, coming down some steps from one of the peaks. And yeah, he was injured, but he'd received some help already. He had a hiking pole to help him shuffle along, and he'd received some pain relief. So we continued on to get our lunch, and then we found him again. And that was when we decided to step in and help him.
Yeah, and I think we've got a picture of you there now in the we're in the Warrumbungles. It looked pretty chilly while you were there as well. And so how bad, he was in a pretty bad way, was he? And what were we able to do for him? Yeah,
after our lunch, he'd only progressed another 200 metres. So he was only able to hop. And it was then it became clear he was in a lot of pain, and that the injury must have been pretty bad. And so we stepped in and decided to carry him out to a point that he'd be able to drive out and get help, which was 4 Ks. So we decided to make a stretcher out of my hammock that I'd taken to sleep in and to tarp. Yeah.
Who takes a hammock on a bush hike trip through the Warrumbungles?
Yeah, well, there's lots of trees around, and I think it's a lot comfier than sleeping on the ground.
Indeed, and it always comes in handy if you need a stretcher. And so was it a bit of a tough slog carrying him all that way? It was about 4 Ks, was it?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been more of a tough slog for him. I think a very bumpy ride, and we'd stabilised his ankle with a inflatable mat, someone's inflatable mat that they sleep on. We'd use that as a moon boot, as you can see in that picture. And yeah, I think that we were asking a lot, are we nearly there yet? But we were counting down the Ks, and our fingers were definitely getting tired towards the end. But yeah, we had a nice chat to the 2 friends, and anyway, we made it out.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were concerned about his welfare, but were you also thinking, this is pretty cool, kind of putting all our skills to use that we've just learned about?
Yeah, yeah, we were. It was very exciting at the start. We were like, oh, how are we going to do this? And then I guess the reality kicks in that we have to carry him 4 Ks, we were hoping, but we didn't quite make it that far. We reached a point where the national park rangers were able to drive in and pick him up. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and Principal Taylor, sorry for focusing on Steph for all this.
That's perfectly fine.
What do you think of the effort of the girls?
I am exceptionally proud of the girls, but also of our adventurous journey leaders, Amanda Burney and her husband Marty. planned the program. It's a culmination after many years of preparing the girls for experiences such as this. Amanda and Marty both have wilderness first aid training, which is a high level of first aid training. I think what I was really impressed with as I was hearing from Amanda at the time was that they didn't just step in and tell the girls what to do, but they really asked the girls to work collaboratively, to think about some of the experiences they'd had when they were doing their bronze and silver, and then to consider how could they try different approaches to share the load, especially I understand that it was quite heavy, supporting the gentleman around his trunk area. And so Amanda didn't just tell the girls, right, well, you have to do this, this and this. She said to the girls, how are you going to manage it? So that developing their problem-solving skills and their collaboration and the teamwork that... Also, the girls were given the choice. They were not required to help this gentleman. Amanda asked the girls, would you like to help? You know, are you willing to help, even though it might impact on our travel? Because the girls, it did mean that it added to the length of their journey, but they were all very keen and willing to get in and assist. And it's been lovely hearing from Thomas, the gentleman involved, at his appreciation to the girls especially, and to Martin and Amanda for their care and support of him.
And this is a question for both of you. At a time when so many people are stuck on their phones and looking at their screens for hours on end, what does this highlight about the value of kind of getting out in amongst nature, and also the value of doing something like the Duke of Edinburgh scheme?
Steph?
Yeah, well, I suppose this isn't a skill you can learn off a screen. You can really get out there and it's hands-on. And of course, the Warrumbungles hike was beautiful, but being able to be there and enjoy it in person is just another thing. You can see it on the screen. It looks nice from the screen, but it's so much better.
That's not the Warrumbungles there, is it?
No, that's New Zealand. That will be what I have to look forward to next year for my gold qualifying.
Yeah.
And I think just to add to that, Joe, our Duke of Edinburgh program, especially Gold, builds on what has begun in our Explore Serve Journey program, which has a peak 28-day residential experience where every girl in Year 9 is a boarder for 28 days. And the entire program is technology free. So no smart devices, laptops, smartwatches, phones. And it initially is quite a challenge to actually disconnect from the technology, but I think the girls' reflection at the end of that 28-day experience, which these girls had all been part of when they were in Year 9, is that they really developed a new appreciation of experiencing real-time, real people, real place interactions, and also felt that they completed that 28 days with a very different perspective on technology and their phones.
Yeah, I was a boarder for a couple of years, so I'm all for people spending some time in boarding school. Steph, sorry for taking you away from hockey training. I can't believe we took you away from hockey training. Thanks so much for having a chat to us, and keep on hiking and helping, and thanks also to Principal Taylor.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for your time, Joe.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thank you.